What's happening, folks? Welcome back to the channel as another transfer update. But unfortunately, it's to discuss the news that we didn't want, that Matt O'Riley looks like he could be on the brink of a move to Brighton. We might have known we were getting carried away once the Atalanta interest died down last week and they looked elsewhere. Plenty of suitors for O'Riley throughout the whole transfer window so far, and Brighton have come back. They've obviously tabled this bid, which from some journalists on Twitter is rumoured to be around £26 million. It would make him the record sale from any Scottish club. It would beat the Kieran Tierney record and the Jota record from last year as well. So if that is the case, if that bid is in the region of £26 million plus a 10% add-on is what is being reported, it looks like that could be in the region that Celtic are willing to accept for him. And the talk is that if the bid is accepted and the deal is agreed between the clubs, the deal could be done in the next 24 to 48 hours. So we might have watched Matt O'Riley play his last game for Celtic, his last game at Celtic Park in that 3-1 win over Hibs at the weekend. It's obviously a huge blow for us if he is to go. He's been absolutely central to everything we've done in the last 12 months, particularly since Brendan Rodgers came in. He's been hands down the best player in the team and the best player in the league, and that's why he's had this interest in him. And for us, it does leave us 10 days. There's 10 days to go in the transfer window, and it would be a blow at this stage to lose our best player. You see what Brighton are doing. They want to bring Matt O'Riley in before they're going to let Billy Gilmour go. He's linked with a move to Napoli. Celtic have had 2 months to get some business done. As it stands right now, we haven't brought in a new outfield addition. We signed Bernardo and Ida, who were both here on loan last season. That we'll come at that in a minute, because that raises huge questions about the club's recruitment operation as it stands right now. Brendan Rodgers did make comments at the weekend regarding the situation in midfield, where he said, I would still like another one in there, and if Matt was to go, we would need 2. So if Matt O'Riley does leave in the next couple of days or this week, Brendan Rodgers is of the opinion that he needs 2 more midfield players. We know that we definitely need a left back, because we've only got one available left back in the first team in Greg Taylor, and obviously there's other areas of the squad. People talk about this third striker that Brendan Rodgers mentioned earlier in the window, which I definitely don't think we'll get now. I don't even think we'll be pursuing that, given how much we've got to try and cram into the next 10 days. And obviously left centre back as well. There's some news today of Gustav Lagerbielke, who looks like he may eventually be on the way out, and we'll come back to that in a minute. But if Celtic are to lose Matt O'Riley in the next couple of days or in the next week, how do we replace him? We've obviously been linked with Arne Engels from Augsburg in the region of €10 million. That's the kind of thing the club need to have lined up, and they need to act quickly on it. This is the problem with letting it go on this long, and we've had the same sort of excuses rolled out from those of you who are really patient with the club's recruitment and saying we'll judge it at the end of the window. There's plenty of time. The Euros has been on. We need to wait for the domino effect of some deals getting done down in England. As the days go by, these excuses run out of credibility, if ever they had any. The Celtic recruitment operation right now is failing. The structure that's there at the club, whatever structure it is, it's almost non-existent, because there's no head of recruitment. We didn't replace Mark Lawwell, and right now it looks like we don't have defined number one targets that we can go and do deals for. There is a case to be said that it looks like we've abandoned the approach of trying to sign 8 and 9 players at £2 and £3 million the way we did last summer, because last summer was an absolute disaster. But here we are, 10 days to go, and we haven't strengthened the outfield squad from where it was at the end of last season, and we're about to lose our best player, which makes us substantially weaker. That leaves the team in a precarious situation, really, when you think about, yes, we're playing well just now, but that's aside from this, we're playing very, very well just now. Brendan Rodgers has got the team in a lovely groove. We've started the season excellently, but we know there's holes in the squad. There's areas with little to no depth, or little or no depth, like left back, and we know that the squad is going to get tested when it comes into September. The Champions League starts. We've got 3 games a week from then until January, basically. The squad is going to come under scrutiny, and that's when the shortcomings will get shown up, and yet we find ourselves in this situation where we've got 10 days to go, and the club is going to be clambering around in the next 10 days trying to rush loan deals through, trying to get loan deals for players for the English Premier League, and just trying to find anybody they can. And that's not how the club should be doing business, particularly not when they have the financial strength that they have. Again, fed up talking about the financial position of the club. It's the best financial situation Celtic have ever had in their entire history, and yet they don't have the structure in the background to go and capitalise on that and pinpoint the players that we need to go and improve the team and bring them in. Again, 10 days to go, and we'll be back to give the final analysis on this window when it actually closes, but it's not looking good. It hasn't been looking good. We took so long in Bernardo and Ida, and there's been huge question marks about where the club's going in terms of recruitment this summer, and people have been running out of patience for a long time. And again, constantly comes back to, well, wait to the end of the window, judge it then. And as I say, 10 days to go, it is not looking good. If Brendan Rodgers would like another midfielder, and if Matt O'Reilly goes, that's 2 midfield players, a left back. Do we need a centre half? Are we going to get a third striker? I think if O'Reilly goes, we'd be lucky to get 3 in the door. And again, we cannot close out this window weaker than we started it, given the position the club is in. That is absolutely unforgivable, but the lack of activity incoming to improve the outfield areas of the squad that we have to raises huge concerns about the competency of Celtic's recruitment operation. There's absolutely no getting away from that. And this brings us on nicely to another point. Actually, Darren was at the post-match press conference with Brendan Rodgers on Sunday after the game, and he asked him about the improvement in Nicholas Kuhn. He's scored in every game so far this season. What does he put that down to? Is it that he's settled in Glasgow? I don't know how many of you saw it or listened to it. You can catch it on our Twitter feed. But Brendan Rodgers went into some detail about how difficult it is sometimes for players to adapt when they're coming from new environments from different countries. They've got to adapt to a new city, a new way of life, a new way of playing, new teammates, new manager, everything. There's an adaptation period, and we're beginning to see the fruits of that with Kuhn, because he's settled now and he's playing much, much better. Now we're in a situation where, regardless of how good or bad or indifferent the business is in the next 10 days, we're going to end up in a situation where these new signings that come in aren't ready for the derby next weekend. Will they be ready for the first Champions League game, which is maybe only 2-3 weeks away, 4 weeks away? Who knows? Probably not, because if Kuhn is a prime example of a new player coming to a club and needing time to adapt, we're going to end up in this situation again, like we often do, trying to rush deals through in the last day of the window, and then we have big games, the first derby, the first European game, trying to get off to a good start in Europe, which is always a huge problem for us these days. And we're going to be in a situation where the new signings that we're going to rush through in the next 10 days, he's not ready, he's not trained enough with the first team, he's not quite up to sharpness yet. We just saw it with Adam Ida at the weekend. Now, he is a proven player who came in and had a brilliant impact last season, but he looks a bit rusty. He looks like he needs more minutes to get up to the full match sharpness that we saw from him last season. And he's just came in the door. It took us 6 to 8 weeks to get that deal done, when he could have been with the squad and been training and been up to speed and be ready to start games right now. He's not in that situation. So that's the concern among the many other concerns about Celtic's recruitment. Whatever we do in the next 10 days, how ready are these players to go straight into the first team to improve us? How match sharp are they? How ready to contribute are they? That's the problem with leaving the business to this stage of the window. And if we do lose Matt O'Reilly, you can look at it and go, that's a huge feather in the cap of Celtic's recruitment operation, because we brought him in for £1.5 million. We've broke the record in selling him for £25-26 million, and that's true. But with the recruitment operation and structure the way it is now, how much longer can we continue to do that? Because if we're waiting to the last 10 days of windows to rush loan deals through, and then hope that we just land on our feet with them, that doesn't seem like the most robust long-term approach to recruitment. I understand it's difficult, but when the club has all of those resources there, the least they can do is get qualified, high-level people in the right positions, to at least give us a chance of going and fulfilling the potential of the football club. Now, in other news, Gustav Lagerbielke looks like he's on the way to Heerenveen on loan. We do have 6 first-team centre-halves. Gustav Lagerbielke is one who only came in last summer, but he was linked with loan moves to Italy in January. They fell through. right towards the last couple of days of the window. Hopefully this time the deal will go through, because I don't think there's any use in having 6 centre-halves, particularly when a player like Lagerbielke can't really get in Brendan Rodgers' thoughts on a match day squad. So I think it's important that we do try and move some of these excess squad players out and get them game time, and sort of clear up the options and the training numbers for Brendan Rodgers. But again, that leaves a question mark. I'd like to see us bring in a left centre back, but again, with the urgency now in midfield and at left back, which has been there all summer, I just don't see us ever getting to a point where we bring in a left centre back before this window closes in 10 days' time. I just can't see it. I don't think we'll get that third striker either, but left centre back's the one for me that I think when we go into Europe will come under the spotlight, and I think we need strengthened in there. But because we've got 4 and 5 centre halves available, 2 or 3 of whom can never get anywhere near the team, I just don't think the club will be in a position to bring one in. So that's it. 10 days to go. We need a left back. We're about to lose Matt O'Reilly, which we've had all summer to prepare for, and we need somebody in behind him to replace him. It can't be Paulo Bernardo. He's a good player, but he's not like Matt O'Reilly, and you can't lose your best player for north of 25 million quid and not replace him. That's the big pressure for the club now, and given that the business this summer has taken so long, the pressure is on them to deliver if and when Matt O'Reilly does eventually leave the football club. So like this video, let me know your own thoughts on the developments. Do you think that is it for Matt O'Reilly? Do you think we will lose him this week? Are you happy with that deal? And what are your thoughts on the positions that we need to get in the next 10 days and where the club's recruitment operation is currently at? We'll see you again on the next video. Please don't forget to subscribe. As always, thank you for watching.